Alright, I've got another World of Warships narrated gameplay here, although I will probably edit this down and not show the whole thing to you, just because this isn't actually that spectacular a game. It's a good game, but there's only a few moments in here that I really felt like I want to come back and pick out. And the first is, well, one, I have a Baltimore, and I like it. A lot of people don't think the U.S. cruisers are any good, but I like this thing, and I've got it down to about a 10-kilometer spotting range, so it's basically an oversized destroyer with no torpedoes. But that's beside the point. What's happening is we are on... I don't even remember the name of this map. But we are on the map where everybody says if you go to A, you're going to die. And what's happening here is as soon as I'm looking at the opening here, the two destroyers down here are going to A. Very clearly. And this obviously isn't to the satisfaction of one of the people on the team. A is off to the left, the rest of the fleet is heading far off to the right. We're really splitting our forces. This is not a good idea. But here's the problem. In this situation, you have a choice. You can, if your destroyers are heading off like this, you can support them, or you can abandon them. Which is the less worse choice? That's really the decision you have to make, and that's the point I make. You know, going to A, probably not a good idea. Probably better to push for B, stay in a place where you can support C. But this is a random match. These people, you know, you don't know who's going to listen to you, who's going to not. And those two destroyers are hell bent for leather for A. So go and support them. If they can capture A and survive, perhaps because you were there to back them up with cruiser guns, then you can go on and deal with B later on. But this isn't satisfying the gentleman who's actually on his way over to C and trying to backseat Admiral the whole thing from here. In fact, what he should be doing, he should be focusing on C, and he should let this go. Because what's happening here is we've actually got a cluster of 4 ships, plus the 2 destroyers, who are working in very tight synchrony. Look at the grouping down the bottom corner. This is not a bad thing. I mean, going to A may not be the optimal play, but having a force that's going together to A with cohesion is better than just splitting up and trying to handle all 3 things. It's because of things like this. We've got a Low Yang that's shown up, and it's heading for A, and it's getting a bit of grief. Nice little tag on them there. Meanwhile, the Shimakaze, who's off too close to Low Yang, which is a gunboat, has support. The Low Yang has to disengage. Had we gone to B, we might not be able to support the Shimakaze. And as it turns out, the enemy also focused on C and B, meaning we got an easy cap on A. It wasn't actually a bad play this time. If there'd be an overwhelming force here, this may not have worked out so well, but in this case, right thing to do. The point is, in a pub game, when you're being matched up with random people, you can sometimes influence where they go. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes the best thing to do is go for often the destroyers will lead the way. Often the destroyers will choose the strategy. Which obviously is beyond the fellow who's gone off to sea and just can't believe that there is a lesser of evils going on here, and that his advice is actually not helping. Anyway, easy cap on A. No meaningful contact so far, just a few shots fired. Time to turn around and head for B. And here's my point. Better to do a slightly wrong thing together than a whole bunch of different things. If we do a whole bunch of different things, we'll just be defeated in detail. There's a saying in the military, which is better to make a poor decision than no decision at all, and this is a reflection of that. So keep that in mind. Sometimes the destroyers are going to pick your strategy for you, and your choice will be either you support them or you abandon them. And if you abandon them, you might actually be causing more damage than what would have happened if you followed the destroyers into a bad place. Although sometimes you can convince the destroyers not to go there. Armchair Admiral is telling us to go get B, which is obvious, duh. On the other hand, they haven't actually got C yet, so a little bit of schadenfreude here, perhaps. Meanwhile, I'm trying to line up this Otago. He's showing me broadside. I want to shoot AP at him. he's not quite in range. And I was unwilling to turn towards him because I didn't want to get... I was sort of hanging still behind that hill, but I've started moving now. Oh, he's turned in. An opportunity for shots, but he might be turning too much for those to actually land. Yeah, missed by a mile. But other people are hitting him, and he looks like he was nose on. He is nose on, but I'll take the shots anyway for whatever damage they'll do. Atago seems to bounce shells really well at an angle here, so these armor-piercing shells are coming in. Yeah, minor damage. But he's opening up a bit more of his broadside, and I'm not afraid to show myself here. He's shooting at other people anyway. There's a nasty battleship off to my left that doesn't seem to be paying attention. Atago's on major fire. I'm trying to continue my eastward push just to get more of the side of him. Force him to either turn towards me, but I can't tell if his guns are pointing towards me. They're not. Nonetheless, he's actually turning out now, which is pretty good. This could be alright. And there's a nice citadel penetration from the showing of his broadside. He's trying to retreat. That's why he made that turn. Sometimes you have to just knuckle down and make the turn because you're locked into a nose-on approach on your enemy. The nose is the only safe part of your ship to show, but you keep getting closer and closer. So he's committed to the retreat. Is he going to show his other side again? That'd be nice. Oh, I should have done a lot better. Meanwhile, I'm paying attention. There's what I believe is a Yamato off on the far left who could just reach out and touch somebody, and I'm showing broadside to him, so I'm trying to vary my course, vary my speed. Even though nobody's actively shooting at me, the Yamato can just basically destroy me if he so chooses. Oh. But the Atago's looking pretty damaged, and maybe one last salvo before he slides behind now. Now I need to worry about this Baltimore. Just like me, this Baltimore's got some pretty nasty armor-piercing rounds. If I'm showing broadside to him, like he is to me, take the shots. Those might actually be a little bit too high. Yeah. Nice damage, but they hit pretty high up on his superstructure, so 6,000 damage, but it could be more. Especially since 6 shells. I feel like... Yep, no, he's decided that I'm now his target. And he's nose on to me, and here come his shots, and I'll pull my nose around and force him to miss. And now we're committed to the dance. Neither of us can afford... You hear that clunk, that was the armor bouncing the shell for the sharp angle. Neither of us can really afford to show too much broadside. I paid for opening up my broadside even that little bit. Meanwhile... my shots just bounce off to almost no damage.
Torpedoes to port.
I see there's a destroyer in there as well. So, not much to do here. Just take a shot that I wanted to land in the superstructure, do a little bit of damage. His shots bounce off entirely in front of mine, and now I've got... this is a big trouble. Now what I do? I've actually decided one more volley, and then I'm going to commit to the turn to the right. I don't actually want to force this guy around. Big bounces, no damage to me, slight damage to him. Make the turn, and this is where it sucks. Because I know that his guns are recycle. I've caught shells from another cruiser. Make the turn, hope he doesn't fire, Secondaries are lighting up. He could really seriously harm me right here, but nope. Fortunately, I had friends where he didn't, so survived that little engagement, but it's much like the Atago had to decide to turn away and had to suffer the pain for it. I had to do the same thing there. I got lucky, though. Meanwhile, not much point in circling around back to B. Looks like things at sea are kind of tense. There's 3 destroyers out there to 1. We've got a couple of ships that are far off in the corner. Our backseat admiral has died an ignominious death, probably because he's too focused on what's happening on the other side of the map and not what was in front of him. So I decided I'm going to come to sea. These destroyers are actually heading right towards me, and I like the look of this. So load HE, race my way around this corner. These destroyers probably haven't factored me into their calculations yet. And at 9 kilometers, that Fubuki might be in trouble. Well, it's knocked out his torpedoes, which is nice. At least temporarily knocked them out. He'll have more. Another volley. He's opening his broadside to me. This is hard to miss. Serious damage. He's almost toast. I want to switch fire to Lo Yang there right now. I really do, but the Fubuki's not dead. He stopped his fire. So shells one at a time, just make sure I hit. He's down. And time for the Lo Yang. I guess we're going to pull out my radar. Except, oh, trouble. Gotta turn. Make the turn. Turn back into the torpedo. Keep the tail from hitting. Alright, I said radar. Let's light up the radar. There's a ship in the smoke. And he doesn't really stand much chance. He actually dove into the smoke and killed his engines entirely, so.
We've sunk an enemy destroyer.
Well, that was pretty satisfying. So friendly forces have got C. Meanwhile, there is a Yamato possibly ready to poke his way out. So I'm going to head my way towards C. There's also a destroyer over there somewhere. Sorry, did I say C? I meant B. Also destroyer somewhere out there. Another cruiser and a battleship that I can't see, but I don't know what they are right now, so they're not a factor. We're almost certainly going to win this game. Now it's just clean up. And this is one of those slow moments where the Baltimore really tells you that it's not a fast cruiser. It can only manage about 32 knots, which isn't bad, but it's no speed demon. Meanwhile, this Yamato loaded HE because I don't expect to punch through any of his armor. I just want to make it, burn a little. But he's just not going to stick himself out of there, which is kind of a shame. Lots of friendly shooting at him. But no, he's actually, that's the heel of the ship. He's made this right turn, and he's probably going to disappear out of sight. So let's just speed up this replay. Thought I could speed up this replay. Okay, so the key bindings don't seem to work. Ah, Noodle Eye. Oh, he's slowing down. Oh, I totally underestimated how much he's slowing down. He actually jammed his engines in reverse, and the destroyer will stop on a dime.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Smart move on his part. So what can I do? A friendly Fubuki has smoked up. So there's a pile of smoke between me and the Udaloy and the Yamato. I think the sensible thing to do here with that Yamato on low health is to charge through the smoke. If I come through the smoke, maybe I'll catch the Udaloy in range. Udaloy's got good guns. It's actually kind of a mini cruiser. It's kind of a hybrid between a destroyer and a cruiser, but I don't think it can match a real cruiser in a close-in gunfight. So there is a little sandbar up there that I'm keeping in mind. I'm thinking that I actually sort of want to charge out to the left and be able to turn to the right in case he's got torpedoes in the water. So I'll charge up, guns ready on HE, and that's when Baltimore shows up. Alright, new plan. Shoot the Baltimore, jam the engines into reverse. I want to stay still. I want to stay in the smoke because he's spotted. A nice little fire. I want to switch to armor piercing. He's giving me almost perfect broadside. I can't be seen. Deserve to follow the shots. Oh, I thought that could have done much better than that, but still. He's trying to kill. Friendly's just whittled him down, and my shots should be the killing blow. And there we go, and just on the heels of this game coming to an end. So remember, follow your destroyers.